of course, Elon Musk did a great interview at Sunny Monroe, and maybe we take a listen, and then we're going to talk about what's happening there.
We are working on a low-cost electric vehicle that will be made in very high volume. We're quite far advanced in that work. I review the production line plans for that every week, and I think the revolution in manufacturing that will be represented by that car will blow people's minds. It is not like any car production line that anyone's ever seen.
Is this going to have the basically unboxed system, or would this be too much of a question to ask?
The thing that's most interesting about this is it's a production system. It's a level of production technology that is far in advance of any automotive plant on Earth.
I can only wait. No,
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
It's going to be very cool, sure.
Yeah, I think and I should point out that we will be making the first production line will be here in the Gigafactory in Texas. I thought it was
going to be in Mexico or something.
That'll be the second place.
Oh, that's way cool.
It would take too long to complete the factory in Mexico.
A lot said there already. I mean, this was already crazy. Boy, did we got some nuggets here, because he said, of course, Texas is the first factory that's going to produce that, and Mexico will be the second factory. And this also has a lot of room for a third factory, actually. That's going to be maybe Berlin, because this makes totally sense to get this thing to Europe. I was speculating Texas, Germany, and then Mexico. But now it's Texas, Mexico right now. So I was off a little bit there, but that was also my theory that I've dove into with Amy a little bit. And yeah, it makes sense. So, but what the hell? Crazy, right?
Yeah, we kind of knew it a little bit from Isaacson's book about Elon Musk, where he said they actually was already working on a production line in Austin for this car. So we know it's not just, like Elon said, he reviews the production line plans every week, but he probably also walked the production line, because we know they are already working on it and tweaking it and trying to find out how to do this unbox method that they are working on. And these technologies from the Cybertruck with steer-by-wire is actually quite a big deal, because what Tesla showed at the Investor Day was also they want to work on kind of 4 parts of the vehicle at the same time: the front, the rear, maybe even more parts, but front, the rear, and the constructional battery pack, and then also the 2 sides, of course, and then just join them all once, so they don't, like a normal traditional automaker, will put everything together, then paint the whole thing, and then take it apart again, and then put in all the different stuff, take away the doors and stuff like that. But Tesla want to skip that whole process and save the paint as well, because you normally paint a lot of stuff that will never be seen. And so steer-by-wire, and also we have a lot of brake-by-wires in most cars today, and also accelerated-by-wire. So we can actually do the whole thing now, just by wire, steer-by-wire. So you don't really need to have some wires going down to the back end of the car. Now you can just do it all digitally. So that's pretty cool, because now you can build the back of the car, the front of the car, the middle of the car, and then just have all those engines and cans and whatever there is there to communicate with each other in the car. Yeah, this is the old process.
Exactly, and then
here comes the new one.
Yeah, the newer one is over here, I think. Here, yeah.
Yeah,
Here's
right
the
there.
animation.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. So now they can actually do this, because nothing is connected anymore if they have both brake and accelerator and steer-by-wire. So now they can build the whole front of the car. At the same time, they build the rear of the car. At the same time, they build the structural battery pack in the middle. At the same time, they make the doors and everything, and they make the sides of the car. And then they just have one place where they're going to assemble it all. So, yeah. And this comes from the Cybertruck and tested out in the Cybertruck. And as they also showed in the Investor Day, like 85% of all cans in the car of the Cybertruck is made in-house. But the next gen vehicle will be 100% made in-house. So they're going to make all the electronic stuff in-house. And yeah, it's going to make it possible to do this real unbox method here, where they connect everything afterwards, because they don't need all those wires anymore. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and what he was also referring to, and I think this was also very important, is here this picture where you see the reduction actually of the new footprint. It's like over 40% reduced footprint, and that was the I think since Investor Day they worked on that line. I think they started working on it already somewhere secretly or something, and get the plans ready. And also what you've mentioned here with the supplier networks is, of course, when you have everything in-house, you're less dependent on suppliers, and the more you do that in-house, that's the newer strategy that is more way better, because of course China gets more and more expensive because it isn't the 90s anymore where China was really struggling actually and they had huge growth, but they almost had slave labor conditions to produce the goods here for the West. And now suddenly the tides are turning. People get more and more money also in China, so the living standards rose and rose, and of course now the prices are getting higher and higher. And now we are in a kind of situation when something like a global pandemic happening. Yeah, it's expensive to actually get it. Before that, it made sense to have a supplier network, and it still will make sense with specialty parts. But I mean, if a chip can't be shipped, then the whole line stops. That's crazy. Or if a knob of a seat is missing, then you can't, like the automaker stopped line.
Yeah,
which is
because
crazy.
they missed one chip, and exactly. Yeah, and also the 48-volt architecture is going to be tremendous helpful here, not just because of all the technology and all that stuff, but also with the whole wiring, because as they have also showed in many videos, that if you quadruple your voltage in the car, you divide your current with 4. So you have a lot less current you need to put through the wires. So the wires can be much, much thinner. So this also means that you will have less heavy copper in your vehicles and less heavy wires in your vehicles and stuff like that. So this little tiny car with all this new technology that we have from the Cybertruck will also mean that it's going to be a very light little car. And so I also think the battery, because we're talking maybe a couple of years before this one will come on the roads, and I believe they will have even more advantages with the 4680 cell at that point, so, and hopefully ramped up to higher volumes. So maybe this car would even get those batteries as well, because they have so much powers, and it can make them very affordable at that time, because that is actually their own homegrown batteries. It's not in collaboration with Panasonic or anything. This is just their own batteries. So when they get that fully ramped up, hopefully in a couple of years, that could also be beneficial for the car. And if it's so little, so efficient, and so light because of all this new technology, with less copper, less wire, it's like 75% less wiring and copper that's in the Cybertruck because of this, right? So it's quite a lot. So this also means they could probably put in quite a little battery to get a decent amount of range, like a 250 miles version of this compact car would probably not need much. As we know from the new refreshed Model 3, standard range has, I can't remember because they don't have it in the US yet, but it's 550, over 550, 554 I believe it is, if you have the 18 wheels on. And it has a 57 kilowatt-hour battery pack inside of it. And that's a Tesla Model 3. Big, nice sedan, seat 5, and cargo space and all that good stuff. And the compact cars are, of course, going to be smaller. So if they're already this efficient, because this is close to 300 miles, I believe, right? Let's
it's close to it.
It's about 300 miles. So if they can make a 300 miles standard range Tesla Model 3, will probably have the same thing coming for a standard compact car, but with a much less smaller battery. They could probably do this, I don't know, let's say 40 kilowatt-hour battery, something like that. So it's also going to be way cheaper, like half the price for the battery compared to a Tesla Model Y, for example, that they have earned very, very good money on before they made all the price cuts. Yeah. So I think with the scale of that thing as well, because they're really going to try to ramp this up to be produced in the millions, and then they're also going to have the economy of scale on the 4680 cells, and they're going to have all this new technology with less wires and the weight in the car. I think they could make this very, very affordable actually when it comes. And also because one of the big cost of producing a car is, of course, the production itself. And if they have reinvented how to even produce a car, I think that the cost of producing the car is going to be I think that's going to blow our mind as well, just how efficient they can suddenly build a car and how they're going to be ramping off, spitting off the production line.